Hello, my fellow patriots. This is Alex with Disabled Vets Perspective, and I guess a lot of you have probably heard some of the news in the last couple of days. It looks like we are going full authoritarian, and this homie don't play. Let me tell you what I got out of the little discussion that was had by the puppet being controlled by many strings. It appears that the powers that be are going to use the head of state position, that is the dementia child, to control everything. We are now in a position where the President of the United States, acting, of course, or impersonating, that's better, impersonating, is now going to take charge of private business. He is overstepping the authority of the CEO, of the district managers, the regional managers, and the department heads. And he is now telling corporations what they're going to do with their employees. Now, being unconstitutional, I guess, is irrelevant because, they've decided that everything is their control, their power, and that there is no more Constitution. That the thing has just been, I guess, put away. I don't know. Had they really followed the Constitution in the last at least 50 or 60 years? I mean, you're supposed to be protected against excessive fines and penalties, but yet you get huge fines in situations where maybe you forgot to pay a bridge toll, and then like somebody I ran into myself did 30 days in jail for a $2.50 fine. That's supposed to be unconstitutional. For one thing, I mean, that being charged to drive, that's supposed to be unconstitutional. But again, like I say, nothing matters. Constitution, it's over. We put it away a long time ago, and nobody fights for it. So until that happens, it's not coming back. We're going to go under the Queen's law and authoritarian state, and whatever it takes to control the plebs, us nasty, useless eaters here on the bottom that get in the way. Now, this Joker in chief says that, he does not care what happens with the governors of each state. If they get in his way, he's going to push them out of the way and do, as president, what he's allowed to do. What he has forgotten is that as president, he has an enormous amount of restrictions on what he can do. I think that part was skipped too in his civics class. You can't run over the state governors. Because here's one thing, I know this, from Florida. Down here in Florida, we got I would call it a metric shit ton of retired veterans and ex-military of all sorts, and they all tend to like Governor DeSantis. So if you have somebody you like, do you think that you won't protect them? Does the Muppet in Chief believe that he can send federales into Florida and straighten us up? No. Wrong house. This state is protected. This state will defend our governor. If, for some stupid reason, that this coward and thief thinks for 1 second that he's going to send UN peacekeeping soldiers or whatever he might assume he has control over, does he think he's going to send those into Florida and we're all going to go, oh, yes, sir, we're sorry, sir? No. What he has done, essentially, and what they've been trying to do, you know damn well, and I don't need to tell you, that this regime wants a civil war. They want us fighting each other. But they're forgetting something. Most of us, civilized people, don't have a problem with each other. We have a problem with our government. And should they escalate this thing into the level that I think they want to, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to put that Pandora back in its box. If it blows off, it's not going to be done until a whole herd of fat ladies start singing. It's just, that's the way it is. Because all we want is peace. We want to be left alone. We want to have freedom of choice, freedom of movement. You know, all those silly things that were protected by our Constitution a long time ago. But they want to take everything away from us, and they want us to bow, roll over, expose our belly, and submit. Well, they're smoking the wrong crack, because we're America, and we live by the motto, give me liberty or give me death. But the reality is give me liberty or I will give death upon you. It's just going to be that simple. We will not submit. He can threaten, he can shut down the supply lines, he can do all that stuff that he needs to do. Now, if you take a bunch of people and tell them, oh, well, you can't eat unless you get the prick, and you're not allowed in this store and that store and the other store, well, what he has done, essentially, by doing so, he will create an incredibly large group of forced criminals. Because you don't think that I would swipe food if I had to in order to feed my family? Yeah, well, fortunately, I have been preparing for this stupidity for a very long time. And my position is I'm ready for whatever they throw at me. We got it. We can handle it. But there are many people who aren't. So what are they going to do? They're going to be forced to break into grocery stores, steal food so they can feed their family, and then all of a sudden you got a criminal. By no choice of their own, it's forced upon them. And that's what these guys want. They want every excuse on the planet to incarcerate, penalize, and imprison the supporters of the Constitution, the free-thinking Americans, the ones that just want to be left alone. When you take people that just don't want to fight and you force them into a fight, they become more dangerous than the one that's always looking for a fight. You know, when the bully pushes the quiet kid around, and then that quiet kid just gets a little tired of it, and he pops like a zit, usually it turns out very badly for the bully. Personal experience, I've had to dethrone a few bullies in my day because they kept pushing me, and I kept telling him, leave me alone, I don't want to do with this, and they kept pushing, and then finally I had to put them down. So I did. Changed their whole outlook on life. But that's what's going to happen. The bully is pushing. He's poking. Won't let you breathe. Won't let you do anything. Keeps trying to pile it on. Well, the quiet people are not going to deal with that much longer. And if this regime that we're fighting thinks that we will be intimidated into submission, they don't know us well. The fact is, people like myself, like many of you, I wear the full armor of God. I am protected by the Almighty. So nothing will create fear in me. I'm calm, I'm cool, I'm relaxed, because I know the outcome of this charade. It's written in a book you guys may have heard about. It goes back a couple hundred years, I guess. Little tiny book called the Bible. You might have heard of it, but anyway, in that, it explains what is all going to happen. Now, Admittedly, there are 52 books of that creation that are being withheld by the Catholic Church because they don't feel like our feeble little minds are capable of hearing the truth. But that'll come out too. But I guarantee you, it still has a lot to do with the outcome of this game that's being played. Good versus evil, period. That's what we're dealing with. But if you drop fear, do not get intimidated. Just relax. There's nothing that they can do to you. When it comes to these mandates and this intimidation of corporations, well, tell them no. They start racking up the fines. Say, that's nice, those look good on paper. And just put them in the drawer, piss on them. Maybe don't piss on them in the drawer because, you know, you get other things wet. But what are they going to do? If it's for example, I told you that we will protect our governor. If Union or some kind of UN troop or somebody comes in here to try to remove our governor because the dictator-in-chief decided he wants to get him out of the way, you're going to have a mountain of people to go through, and I'm sorry, that's going to get ugly. But the same thing with corporations. If you treat your people well and you have an employee base that enjoys working for you and you haven't shit on them, well, guess what? If the federales come in there and say, we're here to arrest so-and-so for not paying his fines, well, they're going to have to go through a bunch of people. And that's how we have to do it. You protect the ones that give a shit about you. There's nothing they can do. All these cops that are practicing tyranny and enjoying the pushing around of the little people, not all of them, and I emphasize that all the time, but we have some of them that are quite willing to slap people around and bang them into submission. Well, guess what? Their comeuppance is going to come too. Because when this ends, everybody's going to already have taken names. These people will be arrested. Crimes against humanity. I can refer you back to the Nuremberg trials. All the people that said, well, I was just doing my job. Well, guess what? They got hanged right alongside the people that weren't just doing their job, that actually enjoyed the shit. So, think about this and understand and hear me. Right now, a lot of the media, a lot of the talking heads are what you call useful idiots. They're doing the bidding of the tyrant. And I want to remind you, going back a few years now, back to World War II, before World War II, when the setup was being done to become a dictator-in-chief, you know, like what's going on right now, the useful idiots were used to herd everybody in the direction that the dictator wanted. That would be the media, that would be the police, that would be everybody else. But then, when they got what they wanted from these useful idiots, they had them killed. So, think about that. Think about these forced pricks. How many are being taken out by it now? How many are on the time delay system? They're getting their way. They're getting people out of the way. It's a ferocious thing they're doing, and people have to learn to say no. It's not hard. It's 2 letters. No. See? Nothing to it. And what are they going to do? Going back to the CEOs. If they're treating their people well, their people will protect them with their lives. That's just the way it is. If they treat their people like shit, then the people will walk out. And then the CEO has no company. We have the power. That's all. That's the bottom line. We have the power. They don't. They scare people. They try to, you're going to do what I say. Nope. No, I'm not. What you going to do? Nothing. You're going to piss and moan. You're going to jump up and down. You're going to stomp your feet. And you're going to cry like a 5-year-old. And I'm still going to say no. I would encourage you guys to do the same. If everybody says no, what are they going to do? Nothing. They're going to maybe throw another threat, but that's it. Nothing. Trust me on this. We have so many millions of people. They have a few hundred. It's just stupid to think that they have managed to gain control of so many of the people. But they'll never get me. And if they come to get me, then I'll be fighting my whole way out. And here's the bottom line. This thing, I'm allergic to the little flu prick. The Army forced me to get it. The third time I got it, I ended up in the ICU. I had tubes all in my face. I was in a coma. And that was 5 minutes after I got the shot. So, they're not going to give me a suicide prick. It ain't happening. And if somebody comes and they want to throw something in my arm that I know will take me out, you don't think that I'll fight to the death? Because I'm going to die anyway. So, might as well go out kicking and screaming. And there's a saying with the biker community that I don't want to go quietly. I don't want to go out sleeping. I want to go out sliding sideways into my grave, yelling, "Holy shit, what a ride!" Yeah, that's the way it's going to be. So, they can make their choice. They can go the direction they feel like they want to go with this. But there's enough of us. So don't let them freak you out. Don't let them scare you. Don't let them intimidate you. They have no power. All they have is the power of the media and the power of the voice. We have the power of the people. Nothing they've got can defend against that. Even their nuclear bombs and their F-15s. Nothing. Because you can take out a group over here, but another one's coming. It's just the way it is. When you're fighting for your life, for your freedom, for the freedom of your family, for your mere frickin' existence, there's nothing that can defeat you. Alright, that's what I got. Y'all just ignore this crap. Pay attention a little bit. Listen to what they're saying. But be prepared to say no. And stand your ground. Tell them no. Alright, that's what I got. Make sure if you like what I have to say, hit the thumbs up on the way out the door. Tell the folks about my channel. Subscribe if you haven't. Ring the little bell for notifications. Maybe I'll start getting this thing to grow a little bit. YouTube's got me so suppressed. It's whatever. I love you folks. I know. It doesn't matter. I can be talking to a dozen of you. I can be talking to 500 of you. The word's still going to get out. We're going to still team up and get to the other side of this thing. So, God bless you all. Stay in the fight.